Hi, I'm Ave, and today I want to go over my 2020 in review and talk about some 2021 goals. Last year I did make it 2 different videos, and even though I recorded them together, I think we're just gonna put them all together. Just gonna put it in one video. I'm gonna go month by month, and I'm looking at my future log in my bullet journal to look at my notes and figure out what the heck happened in 2020. January, I was still a little bit burnt out, but I started getting back into setting up my business to have a few more income streams. I did start looking into doing a YouTube channel. Hello, this is the YouTube channel. And I started looking into starting a Patreon. And come February, I did open the Patreon, but I didn't tell anybody. I just like let it sit there. I think I was too nervous to even talk about it. So it wasn't until later when someone actually found my Patreon that I was just like, oh my gosh, you found my secret. And then I started actively promoting it and posting. February was also my last convention. If you don't know, I go to, I want to say on average, maybe 5 to 6 conventions a year. And this is as a, like for fun. I'm not selling at these conventions. I just go because I love conventions. I love seeing all the nerd stuff. I love seeing cosplay. I like to cosplay, although mine are very casual. And I love to shop from artist alleys. I love conventions. And being in Connecticut, I am close to 2 major areas, and Philly's not a far drive. So conventions are pretty easy to get to when you're a train ride away from New York and Boston. Last convention I went to, still haven't gone to another one, was PAX East, and that was the last weekend of February. And already the coronavirus stuff was like murmurs and very unknown. So there was a lot of hand sanitizer, a lot of wiping down controllers in between sessions and stuff. There wasn't really social distancing yet, but you could tell that people were a little bit wary and definitely conscious, more conscious than normal about people's space. You know what I mean? Because normally at conventions, you're kind of just like herds and crowds and stuff. So yeah, I spent that weekend in Boston, and right before that was my first shop update of the year. I did a small one before that with some holiday, like Valentine's Day stuff, but I'm not gonna count that. So I did a round of pre-orders in February, and this is my first time taking in this many, and I took in about 40, somewhere around the ballpark of 40 orders. It got me back into the studio, which I needed, and things were a-okay for February. Oh yeah, and I turned 30. February 16th, Aquarius gang, hello. 90s child. Also in February, I was a guest on a podcast. This was my first time ever being a guest on a podcast, and it's called The Dope Show, hosted by Randell. And I'll link the episode in the description, but it was basically just an interview about being a Black nerd. I am Black and Puerto Rican, but I identify more as Black. I mean, I identify as both, but I identify more as Black because my mom is Black. That's how the world sees me first. They see me as a very light-skinned Black woman. But I speak about my experience growing up Black, growing up mixed race, and it was really fun to dive into like how did the nerdy things that I fell in love with as a child still influence what I do today and things that I love today. That was a really fun experience, especially like around my birthday and stuff like that. March, the last like event that I did in terms of like going out was I went to New York to support my husband's band, which is Fernanda and the Ephemeral, aka Fate Band CT. I will link them in the description. So I went to go see them in New York. It was their first ever New York gig, and it was so exciting. But like at the end of the week, my husband was told, he's a teacher, he was told that they were going to stay home for like 2 weeks. I think that's what everyone was told that week when like quarantine first happened, that we were going to quarantine for a couple weeks and see what happens. And I do remember that week was when I picked up my next like big batch of clay and supplies and stuff. And I was just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, if I had waited a week, I don't know if I would have been able to get the clay that I needed. Because I pick up my clay in person and it's like an hour-and-a-half drive. And I normally like to pick up about 500 pounds at a time. Because that's about how much I use, a little less than a year. Although I bet this year I'll probably use more. Yeah, so I picked up clay that week and then it was like 2 days later, quarantine. I didn't take it well mentally. I'm still not sure why. I mean, it is a global pandemic. I think that should be enough for anyone to understand as to why mentally I'm like shaken and a little bit depressed. But like my lifestyle didn't really change too much. Thank goodness everyone that I know, especially at that time, was doing okay and no one had lost their jobs or anything like that. But it was just scary and I didn't take it well at first. And then it sounds cheesy to be like super thankful for Animal Crossing and the communities that I joined because of Animal Crossing, but I am, and it's true, and it made me feel better. Just finding those communities and having something else to focus on. Because when I was working through pre-orders, I wasn't necessarily being creative or making things like outside of what I normally make, because it was just the dice mugs. This will give you an idea if you've never seen my work before. These are dice mugs. They have dice, they have sparkles sometimes, and they have dragon scales. And I like to write things on the bottom. Oop, does that have, no, it doesn't have anything in it. So, yeah, so dice mugs. But yeah, that's the only thing I was making really for that round of pre-orders. So it wasn't like I was really being that creative or anything. So I was able to still work through those things. It's different if I have to come up with new ideas and be in the studio. But if I'm working on a design that I've already made before, then it's a little bit easier to get to work if I'm not mentally in a good place, if that makes sense. But come April, I was definitely feeling a lot better. And I'm looking at this and I didn't even cross off all the shop market things I was supposed to do. Like I had the Flair Fair that I was going to attend. I wasn't going to vend at it, but I also had the Frankenstein Twins Fair, prepping for Art Walk, which was a big thing. Hall & Oates, I was supposed to go see Hall & Oates, but that's May. Anyways, April, so my D&D group, we met in person every Tuesday night at our friend's house, and I loved it. I still do. And we had since switched to using Discord and Roll20, and that kind of forced me to learn more about Discord, and then I joined my friend's Discord server. I'm just saying, like, community really helps, I guess, for me to thrive, even though I'm an introvert. Like, I don't, like, going out does exhaust me, but chatting online and whatever, it's just nice, and it helps. So I was really excited to learn about a new platform that isn't Facebook in terms of trying to connect with people. And also one of my group of friends who were all, most of them are art teachers, but I know most of them because I went to school with them, college, and we started chatting pretty much every week. So I had a few different groups of friends that I was chatting with online, virtually, and all of the video calls throughout the month of April and May were like so helpful for my mental health. And come May, I was able to actually have people over in my backyard, just my closest friends, but it was still like, it was weird, but good. And somewhere around April and May, I did make these mugs. I had so much fun. playing Animal Crossing, celebrating it in my work, and yeah. And for June, that was the start of the Black Lives Matter protests, and after the murder of George Floyd, I got really vulnerable on Instagram about my experience growing up as a Black woman. And I acknowledged, like, obviously I have privilege for being light-skinned, but that doesn't mean I don't face racism, and I have family members and like my own safety, all of it. It's just like, I'm just glad the world had a reckoning, and obviously I guess it's never too late, but I think the silver lining of the pandemic is that people were home and they weren't tired and being distracted from work and being overworked at their regular jobs, and they had the rest and the attention span to actually see and notice, hey, that's fucked up, and actually do something about it. I think that's like one of the blessings of having to quarantine, is that people weren't exhausted from their regular life and they were able to actually pay attention. I'm thankful for that. And because of the BLM protests and everything, a lot of people wanted to highlight artists of color, and a lot of people shared my work, including some bigger companies, and I'm thankful. And there's still a lot of complex emotions, like, is it dirty money? No. Do I feel like I deserve it? Maybe. No, not really. It's a lot to reckon with, especially when I started the year off somewhere around, like, not to say that like numbers are important and everything like that, but just to give you like context, I started the year off with 3,000 Instagram followers, and then in June it ballooned over the course of June and July to 10,000. That's just crazy pants to me. And subsequently, a lot of people wanted to support Black businesses. And for the month of June, I was able to donate all of my profits. I chose 3 different charities. I chose my local Pride Center, because June is Pride Month. That would be the New Haven Pride Center. And then I chose the Marsha P. Johnson Institute. And then I just chose Black Lives Matter. So each of them got a little over $350 each. I did round up the donations that I received to be like an even grand, and then I split it evenly across the 3, and then paid whatever extra for all the fees and stuff like that. That was the most money I've ever donated. I've never been able to ever afford anything like that, but I was very humbled and glad to do so. And in June, I did spend a lot of time protesting, dealing with my own emotions, figuring out and dissecting my own biases, and trying to learn as much as I can and educate as much as I can, because the ceramics community is definitely very white. Like, super white. June was also when people found my Patreon, and like I said, I kept it a secret. So for the month of July, I was able to do another round of pre-orders. Being that I all of a sudden had an influx of attention on my business, I wasn't anticipating the amount of pre-orders that I would get. I ended up getting somewhere around 150 orders, and for ceramics, at least for me, that's a lot. So I took those in at the end of July, and I took those in because that's when like the last market that I had on the books was canceled, and it was supposed to be the Renaissance Fair. And the Renaissance Fair, I was so looking forward to. And I was going to do all 6 weekends. So it runs from Labor Day weekend till mid-October. And I was going to do all the weekends, and by mid-July, I found out that they weren't going to go through with it. So I knew that I would have July, August, and September. Instead of building stock for the Renaissance Fair, I was just going to do these pre-orders. And it was definitely more than I should have taken in. I bit off more than I could chew, but I was still able to get them done. I think like the last strangling little bits due to like refires and stuff all shipped out by October, so that's good. But yeah, so August and September were basically just that, just working on pre-orders. And I did squeeze in a few other little Halloween things here and there, but not much else. In October, I was able to do the Amico Instagram takeover, which was so much fun. What an experience. I've never posted so much in such a small period of time, but they give you like a guideline of things they would like for you to post, and they give you suggestions on what you can do and how to fulfill these quotas. And I ended up doing like some live streams, and that's something that I've always wanted to do. It was cool to have that opportunity to do it. And also in October, I attended and also taught at this thing called Lady Fest, and that's by Ladymade, which is a project by my friend Lily, and she was writing for and owns The Perpetual You, which is a women's magazine. And the idea of Lady Fest was sort of like a community gathering and workshops and stuff. So you could take different workshops based on different topics and things like that and build connections. And it was great. It was so rejuvenating, and it was like exactly what I needed when I needed it. And then the class I taught for Lady Fest was all about bullet journaling, because I love to bullet journal, and I think more people would like to know how to do it because it's always so intimidating. So I try to make it as less intimidating as possible. Last 2 months were like the holiday, let's go get this done. And I was able to do 4 different shop updates for the holiday season. I probably also worked more than I should have, but I did take 2 weeks off in the beginning of November because I knew that like going into the holiday season that it was gonna be like go, 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 go. And then I was able to close my shop on December 15th, and then I like slept and cleaned and vegged out and played more Animal Crossing. So that was 2020. What a wild year. For 2021, here's my new bullet journal. So cute. This sticker is by Moshi Melon. Anyways, my goals for 2021 are looser than I think the goals that I made last year, but also very simple. I normally don't pick a word of the year, but this year it was bouncing around in my brain, and it's just like, I know this is the year that I need this word to like meditate on, basically. And the word that I picked is energy. And I picked this word because I want to understand what gives me energy, what depletes my energy, where am I spending it, how can I get more of it. I just want to understand my energy. So that's my word of the year. And my goals are very simple. I would love to grow my YouTube channel, and I would love to grow my Patreon. At the beginning of last year, I know I set those up because I was like, I know I can't keep running my business like this because I was so burnt out with all the markets and things. And I knew I needed other income streams. So I wanted to have those at least set up so I can at least start figuring those out. This year, I think I have a better grasp on those things, and I would love to dive deeper into it. So that would be figuring out how I can incorporate YouTube into my routine, with Patreon how can I make that like the best thing ever for those who super love my work. And I'm excited. It makes me excited just thinking about like, how can I spoil my patrons? Growing those two things as additional revenue streams for my business. This may sound like super silly and small, but I want to make the work and photograph it before I announce a shop update. Normally I give myself a deadline and I announce it so that there's like some accountability, but it also led to me rushing things and feeling burnt out, and it caused so much stress that I don't need. So I want to actually finish the work before I announce a shop update, so that way I can properly show the goods and inform people before the shop has the new things. Another goal that I have is to not take in any pre-orders this year and develop all of the things that I have put on the back burner. And probably won't be all of the things, but I have so many, oh, that was my dog. I have so many ideas for my mugs, different mugs, or I've wanted to make cake stands. I want to do the zodiacs as mugs. And there's all of these things that I never have time or didn't have time to last year. And some of these ideas are going back a few years and I just haven't gotten to them. So I want to at least get to most of those ideas and put out collections of things. So I'm excited to plan those and get those out. And then like smaller goals that I have are like adding apparel to my store. I have one sweatshirt, but I want maybe like a total of 5 things would be good. I know I keep talking about Animal Crossing, but I would love to get 5 stars on my island. That'd be great. By October and November, I want to have already made all of the work that I would like to sell for the holiday season. So that way, December I could take off instead of taking off January, because I love the holidays. So I would love to enjoy them a bit more. And last year was like the latest I have ever put up the Christmas tree. I didn't put up the Christmas tree till December 12th, and I remember that because that's my sister's birthday. And normally I have the tree up either before Thanksgiving or right after Thanksgiving. So if I'm only working on shipping the work and fulfilling orders and not making things, I think that'll be the balance for December that I would like. I think that's it for 2020, 2021 in review and goals. I did not want to rewatch what I said last year because cringe. I'm excited to get more on YouTube and all of the other things that I have planned out. Oh, and today's mug. This is by Joyterra Studio, a friend I made this year on the internet, and we did a trade and she put all of my signs on a mug with some crystals. Very mystical. And I'm an Aquarius sun, Scorpio moon, Libra rising. So those are my signs. So 2020 was quite the year. I grew a whole lot as a person and as a business. Definitely some growing pains that I'm still working out, but overall I'm very thankful. I'm so incredibly thankful. Grateful for the little things that happened, like learning how to make matcha lattes, connecting more with friends, finding online communities to be a part of, learning more about myself, and being able to share it with you guys. All of that happened in 2020, and I am so excited for what 2021 has in store for me. And yeah, if you're interested in handmade small business or business as an artist, I do vlogs and I talk about business stuff here on this channel. And if you could give this video a thumbs up, comment down below maybe something that you're thankful for 2020. That'd be cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you're staying cozy, stay awesome, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.